Now on Bloomberg Intelligence, Munis in Focus.
Yeah, Focus on Munis brought to you by BAM Mutual. Put America's strength to work in your portfolio with BAM Insured Municipal Bonds. Protect your investments with an added layer of security and guaranteed income. Invest with strength. Build a stronger tomorrow with BAM Mutual. This is my favorite segment of the day.
BAM.
Very good, Emily. Can I pick up some good tax equivalent yields these days? Shruti Singh is with Bloomberg News Municipal Finance Reporting, joining us now from Chicago. Have municipal bonds become attractive? Did people even care about tax-exempt status in these troubled times?
Well, there's a couple of different questions in there.
I know. I try to get them all out of the gate.
So tax exemption actually is a point of discussion right now in the markets, given that Congress is taking a look at the extending the tax policies from 2017 and how that could impact, what they're looking for in terms of pay-fors. And people have talked about whether tax exemption could be something that Congress looks at to get some revenue. Right now, it's really unclear. So that's a separate issue. But this week, there has been a lot of volatility in a market that's usually not accustomed to this kind of up and down. We had 3 days at the beginning of the week when cumulatively we had the 10-year munis, benchmark munis, rise above about 85 basis points, which is a really unusual move. And then yesterday we saw them come down about 48 basis points. So it's been a very volatile time. But in that cheapening earlier in the week, we did see some bargain hunting.
Right. So what is the buy thesis to buy munis right now?
Well, in terms of earlier in the week, there was a lot of bargain hunting, as I mentioned, because earlier in the year, munis were seen as fairly rich because a lot of times they're compared to treasuries. What are the yields that munis are providing compared to what the yields treasuries are providing? So earlier in the year, we saw that ratio in the 70s, and now we've seen it much higher than that. And so relatively speaking, munis were seen as cheap, and there were some buyers come in. We had reports of buyers such as banks and insurance companies that had kind of held back for a little while coming into the market.
Who's the buy? Why do they buy? Are you seeing buyers buy because of the yield? Buyers buying because the price gains?
Well, there's no one single thesis in munis because there are so many different issuers and the market itself is extremely diverse. So it depends on what you're looking for in terms of yields. If you're looking for example, in high yield, you're going to get much higher interest rates and income than, say, a triple A issuer. So it depends on what your fund, what your investment strategy is. But overall, yields were increasing earlier in the week because of just the turmoil we've seen in financial markets.
There is an article on the Bloomberg terminal about muni deals being postponed due to rising yields and market uncertainty. Tell us a little bit more about, the outlook here for deals and whether or not that's good for
and issuance. How was issuance, too?
Yeah.
So answer two of those quick. Yeah. We ask two questions at a time, by the way.
Questions, John.
It's all good. All good. All good. I can take those both. So earlier in the week, as interest rates, yields are basically interest rates, right? It's the cost that a state or local government is going to pay to borrow from the market. So earlier in the week, you saw the yields surging, which means that a state and local government, whether it's trying to fund a construction of a school or road repair or whatever the case is, that just means their costs were rising. So those issuers that were coming to market earlier in the week, some of them took a pause and said, well, we need to figure out if this is the cost that we want to sell our debt at, or we want to wait until the market stabilizes. So some of those deals were put on pause. Now, in terms of issuance, we had overall in 2024, we had a record year, and there are certain pockets of the market, many that I've spoken with, that have said that this year, even after this delay this week, this brief pause that some issuers are taking, this could be yet another banner year.
Okay. My investment strategy, by the way, is to swing in a hammock on a tropical island and collect
Sounds good.
a municipal bond that pays somewhere at 9-10% with no risk attached to it. Thank you. We appreciate your time today. Shruti Singh, Bloomberg News financial finance reporter, joining us from Chicago today.